So we have dealt with evaluating piece functions. We've dealt with graphing piecewise functions using tables and being able to go from the table to the actual graph or from the equations to the tables to the graphs. Now we're going from the graph back to the actual piecewise function. So we're going backwards. So we're going to be using what we know about transformations, what we know about the parent functions, what we know about domain and range, and helping us to figure out how to actually create these piecewise functions. So first off, we have some steps here that we're going to look at. Here we go. All right, so here, again, we're going to be creating, and let's cover up part of it so you don't see all of it at the same time. So again, we are going to be creating piecewise functions from graphs. So in other words, not actually going from the piecewise function to the graph, but from the graphs to the piecewise functions. So we have 3 steps we're going to look at. Just 3 of them, just 3, that's all. So with these steps, what we're going to do, first off, we're going to talk about what is our parent function. So what is our parent function? What does it look like? Is there like something that actually shows that it is this graph? All the good stuff. So we're going to write that down. We're going to talk about what is that first step, that parent graph, the shapes. And when it comes to piecewise functions, there might be more than one parent graph. There could be 2, there could be 3. So just with that, you have to make sure you're focused on what they give you, because that could be bad. All right, so in step 2, we're going to create the equation that matches the transformations. So we're going to list the transformations out here because we already know how to find transformations and how we deal with that. We're going to list our transformations, and then we're going to create the function that matches those transformations. And this is why we've dealt with this early on in the class when we did transformations back at the beginning, because when we got here, we're using those transformations and the parent graphs together to create those equations. So we spent the time then to actually do it. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to use that. We're going to pull on that, remind ourselves of how that works. All right, then our last step is, okay, now that we have created this equation, well, first off, we actually know the parent graph. We've created the equations from the transformations and the parent graph. And now we look at the function, the graph itself, and be like, okay, well, where does it start? Where does it stop? What is the domain for this function? Because remember, we're talking about piecewise functions. Piecewise functions are pieces of functions put together. So we're not graphing the whole thing. We're only graphing that certain piece, that certain domain that it's in. So we're looking at the x values for that part. So again, this is where I'm going to make a little switch here just to be grammatically correct. So we're going to, again, step 3 is to determine the domain. And this is where the graph starts and where it stops. Cool. All right, so then let's go to example 1. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about it and actually go through these 3 steps.